the vlog for October 23rd, 2018, and they are not going to be finished painting this week. There was some talk about them being finished this week. They're not going to be finished this week. I think if the odor is any indication, they're done priming. And that's actually the real stinky part of painting. I can only speak from experience painting models, admittedly, but the primer is what coats a surface in a texture that accepts paint more readily, if you don't know a lot about painting. So you prime the surface, wait for the primer to dry, and then applying paint over that is much easier. It requires less work. It results in a cleaner finish. It's basically what makes painting possible, especially when you're talking about little pieces of plastic, but it also applies to the wood trim throughout our house. If what I just said holds true, however, it's still going to be a couple of days of stink. My hope is that next weekend, this weekend, whatever you want to call it, the weekend of October 26th, I'm hoping that the smell will have gotten basically barely noticeable, because coming home to this is a bit rough. I look forward to work now because it means clean air. Isn't that an interesting situation to be in? I'm still listening to a lot of Critical Role, and today, interestingly enough, it began raining right at about the same time Yasha had a one-on-one moment with the DM, where she had a dream about her relationship with the Storm Lord, the god that grants her divine power as part of her barbarian path. I have the book right here that includes the Path of the Zealot. Let's see if I can get a picture here. This is fun, right? Here we go. Yeah, this guy right here. That's the Path of the Zealot. Although, obviously, characters don't all look the same. But it says specifically, in general, the gods who inspire zealots are deities of combat, destruction, and violence. Not all are evil, but few are good. It sort of implies that the zealot isn't necessarily ideal for a player character. But that's what Yasha is. She's taken to it quite well. I've been very impressed with her. Especially when you consider that Ashley's character from the first campaign, Pike, is a gnomish cleric. So you still have an element of divine in the backstory, but it's a much more primal thing for Yasha. Even though she's a barbarian, this entity of fury and anger and just hacking and slashing, she always announces, at least so far, her entries in combat with, "I would like to rage." It gets me every time, because, I haven't listened to too much of the first campaign, but Grog seems much more the sort of, rah, kind of like, yeah, that you sort of imagine when you imagine barbarians. And the way Yasha's art appears, let's see if I can't find a picture of her real fast. She definitely looks intimidating. Like, men can joke about women intimidating them all the time. But I am very much intimidated by a woman who looks like this. That's just scary. That's not even like, oh, she's a woman, but she happens to be scary. That's just a scary person. It doesn't matter if it's a woman or a man. That is not somebody that you want to be on the wrong side of. That's just my opinion. But that's interesting. I'm gonna have to check that out later. It's funny. I don't get to check my phone very often at work, so a lot of my early evening when I get home is just seeing what all my friends have said during the day, and today is no exception. But I think I'm going to go get to that and start talking to them now. I've done my 5 minutes, and I actually had some stuff to talk about today. But regardless, I'm Eric Spornitz, and tomorrow will be better.